Have you ever woken up on a quiet morning, looked at the long list of contacts in your phone and wondered, out of all these names, how many truly understand the depths of my soul? Or perhaps you felt a sense of exhaustion after a social gathering, not because you moved too much, but because you spent the entire time forcing a smile and nodding along to stories that your heart no longer finds a home in. Welcome to my channel, Buddha Essence Wisdom. I am truly honored that you've chosen to spend these quiet moments with me. If you find peace in these words, please subscribe to my channel to support me in creating more videos like this. Your support helps this path of wisdom reach more hearts who might be searching for a little light. I'm truly grateful you are here with me today. Your presence is a gift, and I'm honored to share this path with you. If you find value in these reflections, please subscribe to my channel to support me in bringing more of these teachings to life. Today I want to talk about something that might have seemed strange or even frightening in our 20s or 30s. That is why after 70 having fewer friends is actually a profound blessing. I want you to imagine this with me. Picture our soul as a boat sailing across the vast ocean of life. When we were young, we wanted to invite as many passengers as possible onto our deck. We feared solitude, feared being left behind, so we tried to please everyone. But you see, every passenger who steps aboard carries luggage, the luggage of expectations. They expect you to be successful. They expect you to be cheerful. They expect you to be there whenever they call. As the boat grows older, after decades of weathering storms, those bags of expectation become so heavy they threaten to sink us. In Buddhist philosophy, there is a truth I contemplate every single day. The root of suffering is attachment. And the most dangerous attachment isn't to money, but to the emotions and validation of others. I remember a friend of mine here in California named Robert. He was a high-profile lawyer, always surrounded by dozens of close friends. When Robert turned 72, he fell slightly ill and no longer had the energy for those weekend golf club gatherings. Suddenly, the phone stopped ringing. The invitations vanished. Robert fell into a mild depression because he felt betrayed. I sat with him on his porch one autumn afternoon, sipping tea, and I told him, "Robert, no one actually betrayed you. It's just that the scripts you wrote for them were never performed. You expected them to be loyal. You expected them to care in the exact way you cared for them. It is that expectation that is hurting you, not the friends themselves." My dear friends, have you ever felt like Robert? Have you ever felt a sting of sadness because an old friend forgot your birthday or a longtime neighbor suddenly grew distant? When we cross the threshold of 70, our mindset needs a revolution. We must learn to let go of the attachment to social validation. Having fewer friends doesn't mean you are lonely. It means you are refining your life. When the friend list grows shorter, the threads of expectation grow thinner. You no longer wait for someone to understand you, nor do you crave for someone to repay your kindness. That is the exact moment when true freedom begins to bloom. From my experience working with many seniors across the states, I've noticed that our brains at this stage crave peace more than stimulation. Psychology calls this socio-emotional selectivity. We no longer have the energy to waste on toxic or shallow connections. Reducing your social circle is actually a very intelligent self-preservation mechanism of the mind. Look at the trees in the forest during winter. They shed every single leaf to preserve the life force at their core. They may look bare, but they are stronger than ever. We are the same. When we let go of the passengers who no longer belong on our journey, we finally have enough space to love ourselves. Let me ask you a question. How long has it been since you had a truly deep conversation with your own soul without being distracted by the judgments or advice of friends? Having fewer friends gives us a priceless gift: silence. In that silence, you realize that you are already whole. You don't need someone to call you wise to feel valuable. You don't need a group to cheer for you to feel successful. When you stop leaning on others, you can never fall when they walk away. Letting go of attachment isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. On the contrary, it allows us to love more purely. We love the few friends we have left not because of what they give us, but simply because we cherish their presence. No expectations, no pressure. A friendship without expectation is a friendship without disappointment. So if you notice your social circle shrinking, please do not worry. Do not struggle to hold on to those who are ready to leave. Smile and wish them peace on their path, then turn back to tend to the garden of your own heart. Remember, a fine cup of tea is only truly enjoyed when the space around it is not too noisy. Happiness after 70 is a self-arising happiness. It's when you can sit alone by the window watching the sunlight dance through the leaves and feel your heart as light as a cloud. You've traveled a long way. You've played enough roles in this life. Now is the time to take off the mask, drop the expectations of others, and live a life that is truly yours. The greatest freedom a human can have is when we no longer belong to the expectations of anyone else. And having fewer friends is the first key that unlocks that heaven on earth. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you feel a sense of relief as you begin to simplify your social life? Please share your story with me in the comments below. Have you ever been in a room full of people, perhaps at a loud family dinner or a crowded party, and yet felt completely alone? It's a strange, hollow sensation, isn't it? It's as if you are watching a movie in a language you no longer speak. This is because the greatest hunger we have isn't for the presence of others, it is for the presence of ourselves. I want you to imagine this. You are sitting on your porch as the sun begins to set. There is no one else there. No phone ringing, no television humming in the background, just you and the cool evening air. For many, this silence feels like a void that must be filled. But I want to suggest a different perspective. What if that silence isn't empty? What if it is actually full? Full of the person you have neglected for 70 years. In the practice of Zen, we often say that solitude is not a burden to be endured, but a sanctuary to be entered. We live in a society that fears being alone. We are taught that if we aren't socializing, we are somehow failing. But the Buddha taught us that true companionship doesn't come from a spouse, a child, or a best friend. It arises from the peaceful relationship you build with your own mind. I want to tell you about a woman I know here in the Pacific Northwest named Elena. At 76, after her husband passed and her children moved to the East Coast, she was terrified of the silence in her house. She filled her days with book clubs, volunteer work, and constant phone calls just to keep the ghosts of loneliness at bay. One day, she came to our meditation center exhausted. She told me, "I'm running out of things to do and I'm scared of what happens when I stop." I invited her to do something radical. Just sit. For 30 minutes a day, sit with yourself. No book, no music, no distraction. At first, she hated it. She felt the itch of boredom and the sting of old memories. But after a few weeks, something miraculous happened. She stopped seeing the quiet as loneliness and started seeing it as solitude. She began to notice the rhythm of her own breathing. She began to appreciate the way her own mind could find joy in the smallest things, the way the steam rises from a cup of tea or the intricate pattern of a shadow on the wall. Elena discovered that she was actually very good company. She didn't need someone else to tell her a joke to laugh or someone else to validate her thoughts to feel wise. She found an inner well of peace that never ran dry regardless of who walked in or out of her front door. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever realized that the you who lives inside is the only person who has been with you from your first breath and will be there until your last? In the West, we often confuse being alone with being lonely. But they are worlds apart. Loneliness is a state of lack. It is the feeling that something is missing. Solitude, however, is a state of abundance. It is the sacred space where you connect with your true self, your Buddha nature. It is where the noise of the world fades and the song of the universe begins. Think of it this way. If you are not comfortable in your own company, why should anyone else be? When we stop frantically looking for someone to complete us or distract us, we become a light unto ourselves. When you find this inner companionship, your relationships with others actually change for the better. You no longer approach people as a beggar, looking for attention or comfort. Instead, you approach them as a sovereign, someone who is already full and simply wishes to share that fullness. I want to challenge you today. Tomorrow morning, before you turn on the news or check your messages, just sit with yourself for 10 minutes. Look into the mirror of your own soul and say, "I'm here for you. I'm your friend." You might find that the person looking back at you is the most fascinating, kind, and peaceful companion you have ever known. You don't need to fill the silence. You just need to listen to what the silence is trying to tell you. Because in that sacred space, you are never ever truly alone. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror in the early morning, tracing the wrinkles at the corners of your eyes, or gently rubbing a knee that aches because the weather is changing, and felt a vague sense of fear rising within? Perhaps you feel as though this body is betraying you, like a machine slowly breaking down after decades of tireless operation. In Buddhism, we often speak of anicca impermanence. Everything in this world, from the distant stars to every single cell in our bodies, is in a constant flow of rising and passing away. But when we cross the threshold of 70, impermanence is no longer an abstract philosophical concept. It is present in every slowed step in the silver of our hair and in the more frequent visits to the doctor. I want you to imagine this. Picture your body as an ancient, beautiful house that you have lived in for 70 years. The walls might be peeling, the roof might leak a little when it rains, and the doors might creak when they open. You have two ways to treat that house. Either you spend your days in anxiety, resenting its decay, or you smile and cherish every crack because every single one of them tells a story of the storms the house has weathered to protect you. I have a friend in Florida named James. At 74, James was an avid runner, but a severe back injury forced him to stop completely. At first, James fell into despair. He told me, "I feel like a piece of junk. My body has surrendered." We sat together in meditation under an old oak tree. I asked him, "James, do you see this tree? It has lost many large branches to storms. Its bark is scarred and rough. But does it stop giving shade because of that? Does it stop being a majestic tree?" I guided James to shift his perspective. Instead of seeing pain as an enemy, see it as a messenger, reminding us to slow down and love ourselves more. James began to turn the act of massaging his aching legs each night into a practice of compassion. Instead of being angry at his body, he whispered to it, "Thank you for carrying me for 74 years. I know you are tired and I am here to take care of you." Have you ever felt like James? Are you unintentionally being too harsh on your own body because it isn't as agile as it was in your 20s? Accepting the impermanence of the body after 70 is not an act of giving up. It is a powerful transformation of the mind. When we stop worrying about what we are losing physically, we begin to realize what we are gaining spiritually. Aging, when seen through the lens of mindfulness, is the ultimate practice of self-compassion. From a simple scientific perspective, the stress caused by health anxiety actually ages us faster and weakens our immune system. When you learn to observe changes in your health with a calm mind, you are actually creating a positive chemical environment within yourself, helping the aging process happen more gracefully. Remember, you are not this body. You are the one living inside this body. As we enter the sunset years, instead of trying to repair the house to make it look brand new, spend your time decorating the inner space with peace and wisdom. When you face pain or a physical limitation, take a deep breath and tell yourself, "This is the law of nature. I accept it with love." When you do that, pain is no longer suffering. It simply becomes a sensation. I want to remind you, do not let health anxiety steal the peace of the present moment. Your body may weaken, but your soul can become more radiant and expansive than ever. Turn every wrinkle into a line of wisdom and every ache into a reminder to return to your breath. In the end, the true beauty of a person at 70 doesn't lie in the perfection of their skin, but in the serenity of their eyes as they watch the flow of impermanence. Have you ever felt like you were wearing a mask that had become too heavy to carry? Perhaps it's the mask of being the agreeable friend, the stoic leader, or the one who always says yes to every invitation, even when your soul is crying out for rest. For decades, we have performed on the stage of social expectations, playing roles that were written for us by others. But as we cross into our 70s, the curtain begins to fall on those performances. In the Zen tradition, we often talk about the empty hand. If your hands are tightly clenched trying to hold onto old strings in hollow relationships, you have no room to receive the gifts that the present moment wants to give you. Letting go isn't about loss, it is about making space. When you stop forcing yourself to maintain empty relationships, those connections that have no substance, no shared values, and no genuine warmth, you finally open the door to true freedom. I want you to imagine this. You are walking down a long road carrying a heavy suitcase filled with stones. Each stone represents a relationship you maintain only out of habit or obligation. You feel tired, your shoulders ache, but you are afraid that if you put the suitcase down, you will have nothing left. But the moment you finally drop that weight, you realize your hands are free to pick up a flower, to feel the wind, or simply to rest. I want to share a story about a man I met in Arizona named Samuel. At 75, Samuel was still forcing himself to attend weekly mixers and social clubs that he had belonged to for 30 years. He told me, "I don't even like the conversations anymore. It's all gossip and complaints, but if I stop going, who will I be?" He was terrified of the void that would be left behind. I told him, "Samuel, you are acting in a play that finished years ago. You are exhausted because you are still reciting lines that no longer mean anything to you." I encouraged him to try an experiment for 1 month, only say yes to invitations that truly made his heart feel light. At first, he felt a wave of guilt. He worried people would think he was becoming difficult or antisocial. But as the weeks went by, a remarkable thing happened. The drama of his life disappeared. He no longer had to prepare small talk. He no longer had to hide his true feelings behind a polite smile. For the first time in his life, Samuel was living authentically. He started spending his evenings listening to classical music and gardening things he truly loved, but had pushed aside for socializing. Have you ever felt that pressure? Have you ever felt like you were acting just to keep a relationship alive that had actually ended years ago? True freedom at 70 is the courage to be yourself without apology. It is the freedom to say, "I would rather have a quiet evening alone than an evening of hollow laughter with people who don't truly know me." When you stop performing, you stop being exhausted. You regain the energy that was being drained by the theater of social obligation. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that we only lose what we cling to. When we let go of the need to be liked or included in every circle, we gain something far more precious, the integrity of our own spirit. You become a sovereign of your own time and your own emotions. You no longer need to check the weather of someone else's mood to decide if you are allowed to be happy. I want you to think about this today. Which of your relationships are hollow? Which ones feel like a script you are tired of reading? Do not fear the empty space that letting go creates. In that space, something beautiful and authentic will grow. You will find that the few people who remain in your life are the ones who love you for the real you, not the actor. And even if you are left with just yourself, you will find that the company of an authentic soul is worth more than 1,000 empty masks. Freedom is not having more, it is needing less. And once you walk through that door of letting go, you will realize that you have finally come home to yourself. Have you ever looked at an hourglass and noticed how the sand seems to flow faster as it nears the bottom? When we were 20, time felt like an endless ocean. We threw it away like handfuls of water, believing there would always be more. But as we crossed the threshold of 70, we realized that time is not an ocean, it is a precious finite stream. And suddenly, we become very careful about where we let that stream flow. In the teachings of the Buddha, we are reminded of a powerful truth. The trouble is, you think you have time. But at this stage of our journey, we no longer have the luxury of killing time. We understand that every hour spent in a meaningless argument, every afternoon lost to hollow gossip, and every evening wasted on social obligations that drain our spirit is a piece of our life we can never get back. I want you to imagine this. Imagine you were given a pouch of pure gold coins every morning, but at the end of the day, any coins you didn't spend were simply taken away. Would you spend those gold coins on things that make you feel empty and tired, or would you trade them for moments of beauty, for the laughter of a grandchild, for the silence of a sunset, or for a book that nourishes your soul? I want to share a story about a man I know in Seattle named Richard. Richard was 78, and for most of his life he was the yes man. He was on every committee, attended every community meeting, and spent hours every day on the phone listening to friends complain about their lives. He told me, "I feel like my life is a candle burning in a windstorm. Everyone is taking a piece of my flame and I'm running out of wax." I asked him a simple question. "Richard, if you knew you only had a limited number of sunsets left, how many of them would you spend listening to gossip?" He went silent. A week later, he started making changes. He stopped picking up the phone when he knew the conversation would be toxic. He resigned from committees that no longer felt meaningful. Instead, he started spending his mornings in the park, painting a passion he had abandoned 40 years ago. He told me later, "I'm not being selfish. I'm being sacred. My time is my prayer now." Have you ever felt like Richard? Do you ever find yourself nodding along to a conversation while a voice inside you whispers, "I'd rather be anywhere else but here"? Valuing your time after 70 is an act of deep spiritual maturity. It's about realizing that no is a holy word. When you say no to a shallow social event, you are saying yes to your own inner peace. You're saying yes to the activities that actually feed your soul. From a neurological perspective, as we age, our brains actually become better at focusing on what truly matters. This is often called gerotranscendence. We naturally lose interest in the superficial and long for the essential. This isn't getting old, it's getting wise. I want you to think about your gold coins today. How are you spending them? Every moment is an opportunity to connect with the divine, to practice kindness, or to simply be in the presence of life's beauty. Don't let the noise of other people's expectations drown out the precious quiet of your own remaining years. Spend your time on what makes your heart feel full, your mind feel clear, and your soul feel at peace. Because in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, but the quality of the life in your years. Your time is a gift. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Have you ever felt like you were standing on a stage performing for an audience that never seemed satisfied? For most of our lives, we are driven by the need to prove our worth. We chase titles, we collect achievements, and we look into the eyes of others to see if we are enough. But as we reach 70, a beautiful shift occurs. We realize that the audience has gone home. The lights have dimmed, and for the first time, we can finally breathe. In the wisdom of Zen, we learn that seeking validation from others is like trying to catch the wind in a net. It is exhausting and ultimately impossible. True peace comes when you realize that you don't need to be somebody in the eyes of the world. Your value is not found in your former job title, your bank account, or the applause of your peers. Your value is found in the quiet stillness of your own heart. I want you to imagine this. Imagine you are a mountain. The clouds come and go. People may praise your height or complain about your steepness. The weather changes from sun to snow. But through it all, the mountain just sits. It doesn't grow taller to impress the hikers, nor does it shrink to please the clouds. It is simply majestically itself. After 70, you have the opportunity to become that mountain. I remember a man named Harold who lived in a busy part of San Francisco. Harold had spent 40 years as a high-powered executive. Even in retirement, he carried his business cards everywhere. He would tell everyone he met about the companies he had built and the awards he had won. But I noticed that his eyes were always searching for a nod of approval, a sign that he still mattered. One day, while we were walking in a quiet garden, Harold asked me, "Why do I feel so empty despite everything I've achieved?" I told him, "Harold, you are still waiting for a round of applause from a crowd that has already left the theater. You are trying to prove your worth to a ghost of your past self. What if you stopped trying to be the executive and just tried being Harold?" It took time, but Harold eventually let go. He stopped mentioning his past titles. He started wearing comfortable clothes instead of power suits. He found joy in simple things like feeding the birds or sitting in silence. He told me, "For 70 years I was a title. Now I'm just a man, and I've never felt more powerful." Have you ever felt that pressure to keep up appearances? Do you still find yourself explaining your past successes just to feel respected in the present? Buddhist philosophy teaches us that the ego is a heavy burden. When you no longer have to prove yourself, you drop that burden. You no longer have to win every argument or be the smartest person in the room or show the world how busy you are. You can simply be. This is the stage of life where being becomes far more important than doing. From a spiritual perspective, this is the ultimate liberation. When you are no longer a slave to the opinions of others, you are truly free. You can live according to your own values, listen to your own intuition, and honor your own rhythm. You find that the only applause that matters is the quiet sense of integrity you feel when you lay your head on the pillow at night. I want you to look in the mirror today and say to yourself, "I have nothing to prove and everything to be." You are enough exactly as you are. Your wrinkles are your medals of honor. Your gray hair is your crown of wisdom, and your quiet presence is a gift to the world. Stop looking for sanctuary in the eyes of others. Find it within yourself. Because once you find that inner peace, the world's approval feels as insignificant as dust in the wind. Have you ever noticed how the world seems to be in a constant rush to be loud? We are told that staying active and social is the only way to age gracefully. But there is a secret that only those who have reached the wisdom of 70 truly understand. There is a profound difference between being busy and being alive. As we mature, the glittering lights of noisy parties begin to fade, and they are replaced by the soft, steady glow of inner peace. In Zen, we say that silence is the home of the awakened mind. For many years, we may have used socializing as a way to escape ourselves. We filled our calendars to avoid the quiet. But now we realize that a single morning spent sitting in stillness, watching the clouds drift across a blue sky, is worth more than 1,000 hollow conversations. I want you to imagine this. Imagine you are a lake. When the wind is blowing and the surface is covered in ripples, you cannot see the reflection of the moon or the beauty of the trees on the shore. You are distracted by the movement, but when the wind stops and the water becomes perfectly still, the entire universe is reflected on your surface. Peace is that stillness. Socializing is often just the wind that keeps us from seeing who we really are. I remember a woman named Margaret who lived in a vibrant community in Florida. Margaret was known as the social butterfly. She never missed a luncheon, a bridge game, or a cocktail hour, but she came to me one day looking deeply tired. She said, "I'm surrounded by people all day, but I feel like I'm starving. I'm hungry for something I can't find in a crowd." I suggested to Margaret that she take a social fast for just one weekend. No plans, no guests, no small talk, just Margaret in her garden. When she returned, she looked transformed. She told me, "I spent 3 hours just watching a caterpillar move across a leaf. I haven't felt that connected to life in 40 years. I realize that when I'm talking, I'm only repeating what I already know. But when I'm quiet, I finally start to learn." Have you ever felt that hunger? Have you ever sat at a dinner table surrounded by laughter and felt a deep longing to just be home in your own chair with your own thoughts? Choosing peace over socializing is not an act of withdrawal. It is an act of returning. It is the realization that your own self-joy, the joy that arises from within, is far more stable and nourishing than the social joy that depends on others. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that he who has a quiet mind finds happiness everywhere. When you no longer feel the need to fill every silence with words, you begin to hear the music of existence. You find joy in the way the light changes at 400 p.m., in the smell of fresh rain, or in the simple rhythm of your own breath. These are not small things, they are the most important things. I want you to give yourself permission today, permission to say no to the noise, permission to cherish your solitude, permission to realize that you are not missing out on anything out there, because everything you have ever been looking for is already right here inside the temple of your own peace. As the sun sets on our busy years, let us welcome the moonlight of our inner wisdom. The party may be over, but the true celebration of life, the quiet, deep, and eternal celebration, is only just beginning. If today's reflection resonates with you, you're welcome to support the channel by liking, sharing, or subscribing. Each small action you take is a source of energy that helps me continue creating mindful content for the @Buddha Essence Wisdom community.